Hey guys, welcome back to OC Outdoorsman. Well, now that rockfish season is officially here, I thought I'd make this special video to show you how I set up my rig. And to demonstrate this, I brought this long piece of rope here with me to show you how I tie the different knots. It'll make it easier for you to see how I do this. So to prepare you, here are the materials that you'll need. I'll be using 14-pound fluorocarbon. Now realize, although you don't really need fluorocarbon for rockfish, I find that you'll get more bites when it becomes difficult for them to see the line. So the more transparent or more difficult it is for them to see the line, the better. And 14-pound test is strong enough for the biggest rockfish, at least for here in Southern California. Yeah, we will be lucky if we land anything above 6 pounds, but plenty of strength here for 14-pound test. You'll also need, and I like to use circle hooks. In this case, I'm using 1/0 circle hooks, and the Gamakatsus are great. You'll also need a barrel swivel, and Tsunami is great, but you could use just about any brand. Come on, they're barrel swivels. So let's get started. So the first knot I'm going to tie is the surgeon's loop knot. So you'll see this is the end of my line, and this is the knot that I'll be attaching my sinker to. So that's the first knot I'm going to tie. So really, you'll see I'm just going to loop this around. You see I'm making them parallel to each other. And then what I'm going to do is I'll just tie a simple overhand knot like this once, but not just once, but twice. Sorry guys, that's my crazy dog, ignore him. All right, so once, and then I'll tie to go around in a second time there, and then I'll pull it through. When I'm tying this knot on fluorocarbon, generally like any other knot, I'll wet it down. But for now, I'm just going to tighten this down, and that's it. The surgeon's loop knot is great. It's a simple knot to tie. And look at that. It's not going anywhere. It does not slip. And the cool thing about this, well, I'll show you why I really like this knot when I get to the fluorocarbon, but that's it. Now, above this, I call this the sinker knot because this is where I'll attach the sinker. I'll add my first dropper loop knot. So when I go rock fishing here in Southern California, I use a double dropper loop. So let me show you how to tie that first dropper loop knot. I'll go about 6 to 7 inches above the surgeon's loop to tie my first dropper loop. So you'll see I'm just crossing over the lines like so. Okay. And I like to have at least 3 to 4 inches of a knot, because this is where I'll be attaching my hook, my first hook. So you cross over the lines just like that. And now you'll see that this I'm just going to leave hanging. Let me back up a little bit so you can see it better. And then above, you see the two lines that are parallel here. I'm going to start wrapping them around each other. I like to do 4 to 5 wraps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you'll see I leave this opening so that I could grab, I'll put my fingers through there and grab the bottom line there, and then I'll just pull it through, just like that. As I'm doing this, as I'm tightening, remember, like any fishing knot, you generally, especially when you're using fluorocarbon, you want to wet it down. Now, obviously, because this is rope, I'm not going to be wetting it down, but really that's it. Some people will just grab it by their teeth and tighten it that way, but once it's tightened down, this is so thick it's kind of hard to do, but you get the idea. Once it's tightened down, this is the knot or the loop that you'll be feeding the hook through. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'll switch over to fluorocarbon, and I'll show you how it's done with the actual line. Okay, so let's now work with the fluorocarbon, and as you can see, this is the very tip of my line here. And this first knot that I'll be tying is that surgeon's loop knot. Remember, that is the knot that I'll be attaching the sinker to. So to begin, notice again, I'm just going to create this loop, and I want it long enough to fit around a really large torpedo sinker. All right, so I don't know, about 3 to 4 inches should be sufficient, like that. And then I'm just going to tie a basic overhand knot to begin. So here, we'll see, I'm just going to wrap it around, overhand knot, but not once, but twice. So you'll see as I'm doing this, okay, there's the first loop, and then I'll do a second loop. Now I want to pull out about 3 to 4, about 3 inches should be good. Okay, that's a good size loop right there. And then before you tighten this down, you want to lubricate it. So now I'm just going to wet it down and then tighten it like that. Okay, look at that. That's it. That is a surgeon's loop knot. All you have to do now is cut off the tag end here. So I'll grab my handy snippers and I'll try to cut it as close to the knot as possible. I'll leave a little bit just in case. There we go. That's it. That's your surgeon's loop. This is where I'll be attaching the sinker. Oh, while we're talking about this, let me explain why I really like this knot. Not only is it simple to do, but check it out. For traditional torpedo sinkers, you can use any snap swivel and attach it there if you have that on the end of your line. But if you're using one of these guys, there's no way you're getting a snap swivel around this. With the surgeon's loop knot, you can just feed it through the eyelet here. So you'll see, once it's through there, this is why I wanted to make sure you had a big enough loop. You want to go all the way around the sinker, feed it through, and then pull it. Look at that. Perfect. This knot will support just about any type of sinker. Very flexible. This is why I love the surgeon's loop. And then it's real easy to remove as well. And you'll see that if I wanted to do this with the torpedo sinker, it's real simple to do. I'll just feed it through the eyelet again. And again, it needs to be long enough to go all the way around the sinker and back through. Look at that. Okay, so let's tie our first dropper loop knot. Now again, it may be difficult to see because I'm using fluorocarbon, but remember, I like to go about 6 or 7 inches above this knot to tie my first dropper loop knot. And to begin, you just want to create a simple loop, just like that. And then you'll see that I'm crossing the lines over at the top, and the bottom I'll just leave hanging there. And now it's just about 4 to 5 loops. So here, you can see lines are parallel. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm again leaving that opening as you saw when I was working with the rope. I'll reach through that opening, grab that bottom loop, and then pull it through. Now again, you want to have at least 3 inches of a loop here, or more, but I think 3 is fine, before you tighten it down. And you can see this part here is where you want to lubricate it. So now I'm just going to wet it down and then tighten it up. Okay, so now you can see that I can tighten this up a little bit, and there it is. So this is my first dropper loop knot. Now above this, I'll go about a foot, at least 12 inches above this. I'll create a second dropper loop knot. Again, because this is a double dropper loop, this will be my second hook. Again, you want at least 3 inches here. I'm just crossing the lines like that. And then above it, I'm going to start wrapping the lines. Now I'm going to wet down. I'll lubricate that. Whenever you lubricate your knots with water or saliva, cinching it down when wet will greatly improve your knot strength. That's why I recommend lubricating these knots. So I'm going to do that right now. And then I'll tighten it down. So a lot of people will bite down on it, or you could just do it manually, either way. But you'll see, once you do that, there's my second knot. All right, so now that you have the 2 knots, there's the first one, the second dropper loop, and then here is the bottom sinker knot, or the surgeon's loop. I can attach my hooks and my sinker. Actually, I'll do everything. So first thing I'll do is I'll attach this first sinker to the surgeon's loop. I'll then attach the first hook. There we go. So you can see I just fed it through the eyelet there. Now I'm going to put the hook through the loop, and look at that. All right, let's do the second one. Again, I'm just going to pinch this line and feed it through the eyelet. Okay. I'll then feed the hook through the loop like that. All right. Now I'll go, okay, this is the second hook. I'll now go about, I'll say 7 or 8 inches above that hook. And that's where I'm going to tie on my barrel swivel. Okay, so let's attach it here. Now, the knot that I like to use for this is a clinch knot, but a lot of people use Palomar knots. Those work great. I just like the clinch or double clinch knots the most. So I'll do about 7 wraps. 5 to 7 wraps is fine. Okay, there's 7. I'll feed the line through the first loop, and then into the second loop. I'll wet this down, I'll lubricate it. Remember, wetting it down will greatly improve your knot strength. There we go. And then I'll cut off that tag end. And we're done. So there we go. This is my double dropper loop rig that I use to go rock fishing. Just put everything into my handy leader wallet, and this is great. I think I showed this to you in another video, but it has a bunch of these Ziploc bags, and I labeled them. Okay, there's my double dropper loop. I have trap rigs, Carolina rigs, live bait rigs, all pre-tied here for quick access when I'm out on the water. So you'll never see me out in the middle of the ocean tying rigs because everything's in here. It's great. So that is today's video. If you learned something new, please give this video a like, and if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe. And I hope to see you guys out on the water.